First, so in continuation of part one of my video of March 1st, yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm just talking about some other symptoms because I said that the story is endless. The amount of symptoms I got hit with in mid to, I say mid because it's just an easy way of putting it. People like things very simplified, you know, they don't like anything complicated. So I'm going to say mid, but we're talking probably more like September, October. So at that time I was hit with a whole slew of really astounding, bizarre symptoms with a very bizarre presentation or paradigm. Now, one of them, which I have a video of already on YouTube, is my gyrating ears, or my moving head. So basically my ears thrust out, and they're thrusting out constantly. My mouth is moving, okay? And I know I don't have Parkinson's. It's been 3 years. It doesn't run in my family, and there's absolutely no other manifestation or symptoms of Parkinson's that have exhibited in the last, 3 years. So I don't have Parkinson's, and this also came with all the other symptoms that were hitting at that time. So I'm very suspicious of them as well. So basically, as I mentioned in my previous video, my ears are gyrating, especially this part. It's sort of like the inner, this little part here. As the video shows, it gyrates in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. This gets really bad at night when I lay my head on the pillow. It gets really, really bad. Very vigorous and very pronounced. So, and also, the first time I noticed that my head, parts of my head were moving, was when I was writing those letters of complaint that I was talking about. Well, my eyes started watering profusely. I was like, what the hell's going on? And then my eyes would get really blurry. This is after I was given that toxic eye drop. I'm just going to take a second, put my glasses on, and then I'll show you what happens. Okay, you can see that there. So this started in, as I said, I say mid-2016, but probably, the symptoms starting in mid-2016, and then they got more, like I said, more pronounced. This probably started a little earlier on. I noticed this when I was writing any kind of correspondence to, a government institution, let's say the school board or the school, even a hospital where I had a very negative experience. So basically, you see my glasses. The glasses are moving because my nose is literally moving in and out. So this is all part of that. These head movements, these inner head movements, they seem to start from just behind the ear. I've always talked about how I have really good hearing, and I don't know. I just find that a bit significant that the movement, the source of the movement, seems to be just behind the ears, sort of in the middle of the head, behind the ears, and then it affects all parts of the head. So my nose is moving in and out, and my lips will start to move, as you can see. Okay, so that's completely involuntary, that in and out, in and out, in and out. This also is in and out, in and out, in and out, but this one has more of a rhythmical sort of feeling. So that's another symptom that hit in mid-2016. Now, I'm just going to check my notes here. Oh, yes. Oh, and then there was the neck, the boils on the neck and the redness on the neck. This would happen, and there was a few months where it would happen every Saturday night. I called it my Saturday night special. By Saturday night, I had such horrible red lines across my neck with these boil type abrasions. Like there'd be one here and one here, and I have photos. Like I said, a lot of my photos disappeared, but I tried my best, and I think I do still have, I have retained some of these photos and videos. So every Saturday night I would get very bad red rings around my neck. These are rashes. They wouldn't hurt though. The only thing that would hurt were there would be 1 or 2 boils, and they would be very painful, and then they would just disappear. And I just remember calling a dermatologist about it. That was completely useless, completely wasting my time. I went to her, and I thought, God, there's got to be somebody I can go to, some woman that will understand that this is just not natural, that something is really not right here. But it was a complete waste of my time, and I've never been back since. That was like 2 years ago, I think, 1.5, 2 years ago, and it's gone away. It's gone away, just like all the other symptoms, like the heart attack symptoms that were so bad at one point. They just went away, and I'm working out like a freaking animal all the time, and I don't get anything even resembling a heart attack symptom. I barely even cough. If I cough, it's usually in the winter when I've gotten a little bit of a virus. But I work out to an aerobic level, and there isn't even anything that's even comes close to a heart attack yet. After I saw that doctor, I got such horrific pains that I literally collapsed on the floor, and then that just went away as well. So, next one. In addition, there are more symptoms. Oh yes, and one thing I forgot to mention was when I experienced all those changes to my eyes. So this darkened, I got lines here. That happened with one event with the spa, and I will get into that. There was a spa event. And I got very extremely sleepy that night. So sleepy that I couldn't even walk up the stairs. I've never been in a situation where I was so incredibly sleepy I couldn't get up the stairs. I never remember in my entire life being that sleepy. So it felt like I was drugged. And then the next morning, I'll get into that. Okay, so that's the spa thing. I'm going to put that aside and move on to the eye changes. Okay, so the skin, not so much the eye, but there have been some issues with the eye as well. Like I mentioned, the watering, the blurriness that comes at very specific times, like when I'm writing a letter of complaint. So there have been skin changes. I'll call them skin changes. Okay. Now, in addition to this bruising, which I've seen, you see here that, and that looks like eyeshadow. That all looks like eyeshadow. Under here, you see, it's kind of hard to get, there it is, okay? You see like white, very, very demarcated white teardrops. They look like white teardrops. And it just makes me think of the complaints I made to the school and the board, there it is, about all the bullying that was my children were being subjected to by the students, the parents, the teachers, the principal, anybody you can think of at the school. Lovely. So this is a white teardrop, very, very vivid, very clear. I've never had that before mid-2016. That came with all the changes. So that came in conjunction with all the skin changes as well. And I can show you photos of the eye, the skin area under my eyes before mid-2016. And you'll see that this wasn't here. None of this was here. And I still kind of pinpoint this to a very specific event, the spa thing. There was, like I said, there was one main event, and then there was a hell of a lot of symptoms after that, really bizarre symptoms. And I haven't even mentioned, again, all the spooky things that were happening in the house. Really, really scary things happening in the house. I have a video dedicated to that, okay? So, and I will elaborate on that as well. Oh yes, one night I woke up, talk about spooky things. Now I have to get back to that because something really weird happened. One night I woke up And I came into, this is when I was really terrified because all these changes were happening to my eye contour areas. I was absolutely terrified, and my family was not helping me at all. My own doctor, who's known me for 30 years, said I'm being obsessed. She says, "Oh, you look good for 50." But the issue is not if I look good. The issue is not if I look good. The issue are these changes and the way they're manifesting. I thought a doctor would be more intelligent than that. This is not whether I'm pretty or not pretty, good looking or not good looking. This is about these really bizarre changes and the way they're unfolding. Okay? So many all at once, at the peak of when we are being bullied. Okay? So I would expect any doctor would have the intelligence to be able to see that. Unless she's biased for some reason. Like I said, there's a lot of defamation going on here. So these are all the symptoms that came as well. I wanted to call this miscellaneous video because I forgot to mention, because there's so many. Like I said, there's so many, it's endless. But one night when I was, like I said, I was terrified, I walked into the washroom. It was dark, and I saw, and never in my life have I complained about seeing red beam in my mirror. I saw a red beam coming from the mirror, this mirror right here. I saw a red beam coming from the mirror right across. And it was dark. Remember when I walked in, this was in the middle of the night, and I was having some trouble sleeping. I walked in and I went, oh my God. And then I turned on the light and the red beam disappeared. But I definitely did see a red beam. There is no question about it. Never in my life have I ever seen or complained about seeing a red beam in my mirror. So at the time when I felt, for the first time in life, I really felt like I was being watched. Well, there's a red beam almost telling me, guess what? You're being watched. That was a red beam. And unfortunately, because I was so unprepared and it disappeared so quickly, I wasn't able to videotape it or anything. But that's one of the spooky things I was talking about that was happening in the house. There are so many others. So I will get back to you shortly.